What it do, what it do. It's your brother Yanga, man. Taking an opportunity to come to you again, play with this thing. I'm really enjoying uh the whole social media platform, learning about it. This is a whole new space for me. Like I said, if people know me, they know that my builds are usually done in the streets, man. I usually like to be hands on, face to face. I always thought that I'm big on this escapist thing. You check my style, I'm big on being careful that the instruments we use or the ideologies and philosophies that we follow aren't escapists. You know, that they aren't escapists. And what do I mean by that? Meaning that a lot of times it's just easier for us to do things that are that separate us some type or somehow separate us you know from the real experience of being black. And I think that that's dangerous, it's because it's easy to fall into. Some people do it with, they have all types of addictions and ways to help them forget about their issues. Some people do it with drugs. Some people do it with food. Some people do it with religion. You name it, people find ways to help themselves escape from their issues. And I call this escapism. So I was always, and I was one of those people that thought YouTube was just one of them platforms that was escapism. Yeah. To my people in the house, you guys can tell I'm green. I know y'all laugh like you. Let me put this, let me drop the link. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. Okay. Let's drop the link in this joint. So we do that. Now, here. All right, let's try that. Let's drop that joint. Let's get my crew up in here. Let's get seduction. Let's get my man Black Sun. We kicking it. A little rap session, a little build session. Couple things I wanted to build on though. I always like to build nationally because I am a black nationalist, and it's always important to know what's going on nationally, modernly, in this contemporarily and historically, how we got to this point. And I also like to build internationally. I think that is super important. You know what? If you ask me, I think that that is one of the major arenas that Black people here in America, the Black African here in America, Blacks in, is understanding to a degree international policies, affairs, or whatever. And this is major. This is not a small thing. It speaks to major issues. You know, it speaks to the issue of us really not understanding our role and how we're perceived internationally, which affects relationships with us nationally from uh, white America and from the foreigners that come over just because we don't know how we're perceived internationally. It affects us just in what we support and what we sponsor. I'm willing to guarantee you, us as Black African people in America, we're compassionate people. We're people that's interconnected. You dig? And I'm willing to guarantee you, if we were really aware of some of the atrocities, some of the harsh conditions that human beings are living under in some of the more underprivileged, underdeveloped countries. And one of these reasons that they are underdeveloped or underprivileged largely is because of imperialism, large corporations who take advantage of that and work these poor people for pennies on a dollar.
That's right.
Um, if we really knew how
That's
that
right.
would was tied to the products that we consume, I think we would be more cautious about what we consume. Our ignorance will be our downfall. But they say ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
They say ignorance is bliss. You know, if you're ignorant to something, can you can finge um what is it apathy to a degree. You can pretend that since I didn't know, I couldn't be attached. That's why I didn't care. That's why I didn't change it. Oh, I didn't know. And I think that we are some of the only people. This is why people target us to sell to us, Black Africans, especially here in America, is because we're the only people that think shit grows on tree. We actually may actually believe there's a thing called a flat screen TV tree, that there's uh you know a diamond tree, that these natural resources and materials and minerals don't come from any place, aren't attached to anything. And I could even understand that. I need a psychologist to jump on my chat. I wonder if we associate resources not to being attached to anything because we ourselves aren't attached to anything, maybe.
Hmm.
Is this maybe why we don't complain about, I hear these Negroes advocating and being champions for capitalism without, possibly they couldn't quite, maybe they do know what capitalism is. Maybe they know better than me. As hard as they champion it, maybe they know better than me. But I find it hard to know how it is a dead end eventually. How the system of it is not just an exploiter of the peoples, but a sapper and an exploiter of this wonderful rock that we float on in space called Earth, Erd, Mother Earth. I fail to understand how, but there again, I question: is it because we ourselves, as a peoples over here in America, don't have a connection, don't feel attached to anything, so we believe that resources just fall out of the sky? What it do, dog? Seduction. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Testing,
Okay, I
testing.
can hear you.
Okay, cool deal.
Okay, I know I wasn't dropping that hard that
Nah, you
nobody could
good.
use that. Seduction. What's going on? Seduction. What's the word? What's the business?
I think her mic she might have a little issues because thing's not coming
Son, what's
on.
going on, man? You been up
Shoot.
on
Oh man, I'm just ready for this debate. It's like the more I write down stuff, the more people in the league prove me right. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Moonflower. Shout out to Moonflower. It wasn't long ago. Moonflower was like, I have a heart condition, yada yada yada. And then today she was like, I'm cooking some ham hocks, I'm cooking pork, I'm cooking this. I was like, God damn, y'all.
Hey, I don't know. I thought she didn't date black people.
Allegedly she doesn't, but she sure do like the attention of black men. But you know,
Oh, I'm
so I
wondering
don't know. I
what
don't know if attention
I
counts.
listen. I didn't know if because I don't know much about interracial dating.
Right.
So do like I would love to ask her a question. Maybe I need to get my make just me or somebody that interact moonfly anybody. I would like to know, do they accept your dietary practices? Does the white boy or the Asian boy, are they accepting all that pig? Are they accepting all that
Ooh,
lard and swine and shit?
good question. That's a good question, brother.
I mean, will she be able to go in there and eat her hog mugs and chitlins and fatback pig feet?
You know what? I'm stumped on that
I,
question.
I actually, I'm gonna tell you, if damn, I'm torn between it because I would hate for her to go over there eating damn pig feet and chitlins and fatback and shit and perpetuating stereotypes. Next, you had this cracker throwing watermelon at her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just,
Oh
I'm looking
shit!
out for her.
I know.
I'm a friend of the people.
Yes,
I'm just
sir.
getting over there so they don't handle her any kind of way. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, the watermelon would be good
I'm a
for her. But
friend of the people.
yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. You know what I'm saying? So they don't handle her any kind of way. You know what I'm
I
saying?
hear you. Hold on 1 second.
Actually, the watermelon would be good for her. But
Yeah, no, I forgot. I forgot. I apologize. I apologize. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Can you hear me? My voice is like shit right now. Can
What's
you
going
hear me?
on, Seduction?
hey,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It sounds like this. I told you I got a heart condition, so it's like It's like the end of time over here. Like biblical end of days. That's what it feels like. I apologize already in advance. Just having real ugly, ugly, sickly moments. Um, well, good evening, gentlemen. Blackson,
hey, hey.
brother Yanga. Sorry, I had to jump out. I was on the phone, and I had to jump off real quick to jump on the computer so that um, you could actually hear me and it was working correctly. So I apologize about that. How you doing, gentlemen? Happy
Hey,
holidays for those
We're
the family
good.
that
hey,
celebrate this day. I don't. I'm on Kwanzaa. So happy holidays,
happy
everybody. But
Kwanzaa.
how's everybody doing, Black family?
We're
Doing good,
good. How
sir.
about you?
um, I'm just sick. I had a very enlightening visit from my sister. Contrary to popular belief, I have family that extended family that isn't your actual family. Not blood related family from like Louisiana in the South. I feel like I have been cheated. I was cheated.
You,
I was born in LA, a Los Angeles girl. Um, I was raised in and out of LA, Colorado, and I had the privilege of visiting the South and spending a lot of time in the South, like a couple years here and there, different places, like Texas, Florida, a lot of places like that. Where I spent some time, traveling and visiting things. And I had a friend, I had my sister from when we were little girls, like little girls, like 10 years old, 11 years old. She lived down the street from me, and her daddy and my daddy were cool. She come over, I come over to her house. It was like we was either one place or the other, but we was always together. And to the point where my pops would be like, "Oh, that's your only friend." Oh, she with you? Where she at? Why you at over there? And her daddy be like, "Hey man, go get your only
mhm.
friend." They call each other. They be like,
Y'all were fit crack.
"Yeah, yeah." Like her dad would call and be like, um, "Yeah, bro's on her way to go get Brandy. That's my name, Brandy. Bro's on her way to go get Brandy." Oh, okay. All right, Harold. I have Brandy ready. So like that, they would call each other, and they would dialogue because my father, the man raised me. I grew up in a Chicano household. I didn't know that. he was raising me because my real father had passed away. I always thought that was my real daddy. So they were like, "Oh, bros are coming." I was like, "Okay, cool." And if I walk over to our house after school, and her dad will look at the door like,
Mm,
"Does your father know you're here?" And just straight
right.
dime me out. And they would call it. What I liked about it was they would call each other because we were not. We were like the little girls that weren't fast, but we like to have adventures and just not tell nobody about the shit. We just go. There's like a little wetlands around her house, and it wasn't developed. It was just all woodsy and a marshy, like. And we just go have adventures, like go looking for stuff and like a little, just walking through, get scared by rabbits jumping out of shit, or
Mm.
like walking, thinking the plank is safe to walk
But
across
where
puddles, have real
right?
adventures.
They still in Louisiana.
No, no, no. This was tight about it was that I have been looking for her for like 2 years. I hadn't heard from her. They had like big hurricane just this year, and so I kind of reached out on my show. Was like, man, you ain't basically my people. Like, I was like, what up? Tell them I'm okay with looking for them. We pray that they don't get hurt or nothing because that shit was crazy. And she was
Mm.
from Lake Charles. Lake Charles. She here in the city. So
In
I reached
Colorado.
out. Yeah, she in the city. So I've been reaching out, and finally, I guess my prayers were answered. I guess when you looking for somebody, eventually they'll show up. And
Yeah.
as sick as I am nowadays, I I don't want to leave and not be able to see my. What I would like to say is my sister. We grew up, went to school together. We was at each other. We are together, like that. Like we were like one as friendship. And
Yeah.
we still like that, which is crazy. So last or I'm looking for her. I mean, I'm with a family like that. Like, where your mama at? I haven't seen you in forever. But let's not talk about you, bro. Where your mama at? I can gauge food by love. Where's your mama? I need your mama. Like that. And you look at it like, don't you miss me? Like, yeah, but where your mama at? Like,
Yeah.
I need your mama.
So production.
I had a good ass visit.
Seduction.
Yeah.
That's why I say
Yeah.
I'm finna get on you because I
Good
think
for
you
what?
going somewhere with it. And
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was actually. I learned something.
okay,
I learned something
yeah,
really
that's
good
what I thought
about
you were
our
starting
people.
it off with. You took us down a
Yeah,
walk down
I'll
memory
tell the
lane.
story. I was happy. I'll share in a moment. I learned something about our people, man. I
Okay.
learned. I learned it. I learned a lot of things. Actually, you'll have people. You'll have our people that are really upset with our people. And they have a
Hmm.
whole lot of animosity towards our people. And it won't just be like, like me. I'm more like, man, fuck them white people. All day. I would say it all
Hmm.
fucking day long. I have
Hmm.
nothing but bad experiences, me personally. And then I
Yeah.
learned that my sister, who has a very good job and is strong, strong, strong black woman, is always I
Uh-huh.
always looked up to that. Um, has the same type of animosities that you hear it a lot of times. Will say, it's not just white people, it's all people that do these type of I want to say atrocities to each other. That'll disrespect each other, um, shaming. Lots of ugly little things. That are
Absolutely.
mostly guilty of. Like I look at it like sometimes, damn, it's white people that don't ever want to give nobody real opportunities, or because I feel like that.
Well,
That's
I
me.
think
You're right.
one of the things that I think ended up happening with us, a big thing with us, and it's
Mhm.
it's it's trained,
Yeah.
is we're not as tolerant.
Mhm.
You know, I can watch. I've been places with black people, and something happened. Like let's use a restaurant for an example. We
Mhm.
can go to a black restaurant, and I think you've heard me say this,
Yep.
seduction. We can go to a black restaurant, and the service not be the best, right? And the person I'm with will just go through holy hell. This is why I don't deal with niggas.
Mhm.
Niggas can't do nothing right. I mean, just go through holy hell. But you go to a white restaurant and you get shitty service. and we're like, and I've really seen this, and we're so forgiving. Oh, don't worry about it, love. Everybody has a hard day. We
Mhm.
have just some kind of way learned to be extra tolerant
Yeah,
with white people. And I mean, these are the people
super
who have
passes.
historically,
Yeah, look up
uh,
super passes for me. Like, and it's
you say
weird because I
what?
don't do it. I don't do it. I like that's like equal opportunity assholism with me. You know, like
Okay,
equal
okay.
opportunity. But when it comes to and it might be. I don't know. I'm not even gonna lie, because I have to admit it to yourself. I might get a little bit more aggressive with it when they're white, only for the simple fact that they've been
You know
fucking
what?
with me my whole life. You know what I mean? I get no
With
passes.
me, I'm
That's
like
probably like
you.
a little extra, honestly. We're gonna be honest about it. I probably get a little
Okay.
bit more, a little harder with them because they don't take the shade for the don't understand the shade for the message. I'm thinking to myself, they look at me and they don't see me as being mixed. They see me as I'm black. You see what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
don't see that,
absolutely.
and then you got your family. They'll see you as mixed, which is another thing I learned. They'll see you as mixed, but they look at you and judge you as you're white, or you're like a light, very light, Hispanic, right? Fair, or whatever. And then
Where's
there's
that
all
at?
the
You
colors
said.
and shit. The treatment is different until they recognize that someone will see you and some will not. And I think that we are so, which it brings you to this. We are so conditioned in this lifetime. Well, I'm a Generation X person, so conditioned to look at everything from the outside in and judge it off top, and then to go off of their actions of energetic behavior and give it to them the way they brought it. It might get even
Okay.
worse because you're here, so you're judgmental.
Yeah.
I'm
But
really
you know what though,
judgmental like that.
seduction. I tell you what, you know what, seduction? I'm actually I like what you first said. I'm equal opportunity ass at sometimes.
Hmm.
It depends how the service is shitty. Like
Yeah,
if I go to a black restaurant or a black place of business and the service is shitty just because it is poor customer service, like
mm,
you get it. Like I don't think sometimes we really uh equate good customer service to a part of the job description. Like
right.
you'll go in some of these places, and especially fast food is bad. And I know Son's
Bad,
ears
yeah.
are burning from that. Black Son is probably like fast food. I
Hmm.
know fast food is bad, but
Yeah.
you right, you go in
Oh,
these
you're right.
places, right? You go in these places, and the people feel like, I guess, because they get a check and they showed up, that's the end of the job requirement.
Right.
Like, I mean, like, save your fucking attitude.
Hmm.
What happened to customer service? Custom is right. And I
Hmm.
think that sometimes black businesses or black employees reflect that, not really understanding that whole fucking process. I don't like that.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
then I think the other thing is if I go to a white business, now on the white side, if I go to a white business and I'm getting shitty service because what I feel is entitlement.
Mm. Hmm.
You know what I'm
And you're
saying?
right.
If you give me shitty
Absolutely.
service because you really just because you're white and you don't feel like you really have to put it, put
Yeah.
that the humility into the service that goes with it, don't come what you want.
Hmm.
I want you one step short of shucking and jeffing.
Yeah. Like I want you to
What's the
be for
wrong with
life.
you, little
First
black
off,
man?
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, like so that's another thing too is that I recognize this whole little visit was a good episode for me to recognize some faults that I got myself. So I'm a human being, and I'm a real asshole, right? Really rude, and it's just I have really rude moments, and I'm not afraid to admit this. I was like really proud of myself that I was like, wow. I was so thankful because this happened just what you're talking about. We went. I don't leave. I really don't go nowhere. If I can't afford it, I won't go because I feel embarrassed. Whatever my problems are, right? But my sister like, let's go. Come on, we're gonna move around. Let's go eat. I don't argue. Let's go. So basically, we had a soda, sodas, and mine was like without the flavor. all the sparkle but no flavor, right? Something wrong with it. And so I said, "Is it?" I'm polite also, and I realized that, when you go to restaurants and shit, and if something's wrong, you need it to be right. Especially you got to think about it. They trying to earn their wage. I don't know how it works anywhere else, but here, I guess we pay wage too and tipping, right? Which if me, you
Uh,
should tip. Sometimes, depends. So Here's the argument. The tip is like, well, what is it? What is it? What is the tip? So I think it's 15% here, right?
mm,
So I'm like, I tell my friend, I said, look, don't be upset, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask them to replace this, because that could be like embarrassing too. Some people might be embarrassed because you have to fix your own shit. So I like, she like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, and I just really don't care what the answer is. That's gotta happen. So I'll wait till the lady come back. It's immediately like that. And I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Could you replace this? It's like lacking something. That it's not like a soda. It's sparkly like what, but it's not like what. It's just, can we replace it? And maybe your machine ain't working. Can I change it for like a Coke or something?" And she's like, "Ugh, you people," like that. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was about to just say, "What the fuck do you mean?"
a white
Like, he's a
woman,
regular person. Like, I'm not even really tripping. Like,
wait a minute, seduction, a white woman.
now she was like maybe what do they call them, Afro Latina, maybe a couple smidge shades darker than me. Real pretty lady. So you would think this kind of behavior is it. She gonna act all ugly like this. I'll try to behave, really trying. So like she said, "Oh, you people," because she didn't think anybody could hear her. It's packed in there. It's a packed place. And I'm like, "Whoa, excuse me, I'm sorry. What?" Like that, like in my polite voice. I'm like, "What?" So are you gonna do that? Because now I'm gonna start. Now I'm gonna be like, are you, getting into my mode? And she just didn't say shit. And I was like, "Ooh," and she walked off, right? So I think, okay, maybe I'm just tripping. Some reactionary. Maybe I'm tripping. And I was a little bit. And she come in, she replaced it. So the polite thing to do, I believe, is to have manners to say thank you. And then they have a response. You're welcome, and take off, right?
Yeah,
No, then when I was like, "Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I apologize for, making you do that, because I don't want nothing bad to happen. I've seen these things. We've all watched movies. We've also seen that when you start asking to have them fix just the minuscule shit that they fuck up, that you have to just, because you want, you come into somewhere fancy, you think it's gonna be right. You know what I mean? I'm stepping out the house, man. This is my first
man.
experience in a
I'm gonna
while. Like,
tell you,
please don't
I
disrespect
am a, I'm a
me like that.
proponent. Let me tell you something. I am a super proponent of consumer power.
Mm-hmm.
Until we as a people begin to control, hold on, control
You
the
got to pay
means
them
of
like that.
production
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. It starts with understanding the consumer power,
Mm-hmm.
understanding, like, you know what's our slogan? They can't make you spend a
They can't
dime.
make you spend nothing, and that's the fact.
Exactly.
And that's
Not
what
a
they
cent.
ask
So
you
when
to. They ask you for a tip, and you're like, "For what though?" Because
it,
it come out to that
exactly.
topic at the end of the night. You're like, "What do you think your tip is worth?" And you
I,
ask me, I'm gonna say five. If that,
right.
your
Or
attitude is, "Well, what is it?"
you can't, like, now I'm gonna tell you something. I'm torn between gratuities and things for waiters, because they're the people. A
Yeah,
lot of those people are the working class. They're trying to work through. If they work for uh what do they call it? If they work for a salary and wages, then I don't
yeah.
think they make as much. If they just work, like, if they opt out to work for half the check and wages or something to that effect, I don't know exactly
Yeah,
how it
no,
works.
they get the wages. It's like, oh, here we got the wage, which I don't know what it is, because I don't know if it's at the what do you call it? The minimum wage in Colorado, I think right now is like $15 or $17 an hour. So it's
Mhm.
in my mind, that's a lot of money when we started out like five. you know, so
Yeah,
now it's,
yeah,
raise
yeah.
it up a little bit. I don't know what it is though for the worker that for the waiter, waitresses, shout out, y'all know who are. And the lady had to bring it to the fact of when she's talking about the tip, she want to throw in a little jab like, I am working through the holidays, but and you don't want to call them already out like, ooh, you little, but that is
Yeah,
so unnecessary.
now, see, now that's all right.
Yeah,
That's a whole
did you
different
work
thing. We're
there?
not going to deal with the
Yeah,
attitudes and things of
yeah,
that
yeah,
nature.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm a big proponent of consumer power. For my
Mm-hmm.
people out there listening, listen, those are your pennies, especially if you're from the working class.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that we would understand, and this is the importance of understand capitalism, our relationship in the system of capitalism, and how things happen. Because you, as black people, most of us black people out there, we are the capital. You are selling your labor for money. First, let's clarify this. Money itself is not capitalism. Money itself is just an exchange note.
Mm-hmm.
It in itself is not capitalism. It is the system in which you agree to exchange the note. That's the capitalism. We can exchange it in capitalism. We can exchange it in socialism, communism, this ism, and that ism. So America system, economic system, is a system of capitalism. Black people largely are affected by capitalism from the consumer perspective or from consumer capitalism, which is dangerous for us because we don't um, we're not close to the mode of production, meaning we're not anywhere remotely related to the things that we produce. We have to go through middlemen. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And the
Yes.
only thing that we have to sell is our labor. So here I am selling my labor
Mm-hmm.
just to uh buy. And this is why I talk about the capitalist system. Buy these material products that I don't think from coming anywhere. And how long do I think my labor is going to last me? I know
Yeah,
people now fighting to get their Social Security.
yeah.
I know
So
people now that at so-called Social Security age have to work at the grocery store, fast food, or somewhere to supplement a Social Security check.
yeah, it's really crazy too when you bring that up. Is that like for someone that I've always tell every people start telling me to apply for that, but when I do it, I don't. If you do it enough, see rejection, you just gonna stop because they're not gonna do it. Um, I see that this little round of applying, I never had a real job. I've always been out in the streets, so I never had a real job. There's no excuse. However, they said that when you apply for disability insurance, Social Security, like SSI, or like you hurt yourself, Social Security disability insurance, the where you're not right, where you can't work, um, that they don't give it to you anymore. Not even based on your medical history or whatever is going on with you medically, but now it's like on here with work credits. You don't get it. Fuck what's wrong with you, right? Or what happened to you? You don't get it because you didn't have enough work credits or
Yeah,
yeah, work credits, work points, I guess. And
yeah,
it wasn't like
yeah,
that for like the first 10 rounds of denial. It was like, no, you're not sick enough, or when you're finally sick
yeah.
enough, you don't have enough work credits.
You haven't you haven't invested you haven't invested in the system enough, they're telling you. You haven't sold enough of your labor to the system for the system to be bothered with saying you're worthy of uh a stipend to survive, you're worthy of
Mm-hmm.
monies, or you're worthy of housing, or you're worthy of medical assistance because you haven't sold us enough of your sweat equity. You haven't
Yeah,
sold your soul
equity.
enslaved
That's a
to
good
the
ass word.
system. So now we're going to deny you the right to existence.
Yeah,
Like,
that's an extra
you know
jab.
what I'm saying?
Extra jab, yeah,
Basically,
for you, yeah. I
you
like
know,
goddamn. Like at first, when I think like honestly, I've applied like 11 fucking times in my lifetime. For a serious reason, and there's a deny, right? But the last two times when they send that paperwork, you do everything you're asked of, and I mean, it's really a struggle if you think about it to gather all that shit with you out in the street your whole life. But you do all your due diligence, and the denial the next two times is like over work credits, like little work points. I'm like, God, man, I understand how much the people that work really hard their whole lives with regular jobs. I really understand that part, but I never seen it like on this side where you hit this like work credits. I'm like, what is a credit? One of the how do you earn those? How long do you have to put into it? There's so many questions. So fuck this. This shit is crazy to me. Like when you really, really, really have a condition or something, and you're like, what? So you mean to tell me that I have to have a job and put in X amount of years to qualify for these little credits because I have a condition I've had for a long time that ends in fatality? But you won't get to me if I don't have these credits. Why'd you say that from
Absolutely.
jump? Like 20 years back? Is this new?
No, no,
The questions.
no, man. Absolutely,
I feel like
absolutely.
it's
You don't
another
have no.
jab. Another
You
jab to
said
keep
what?
you oppressed or without. I don't want to say oppressed. Yeah, without. Another job to keep you. Another jab, like another black eye on us as a people. Regardless, us as a people of not being able to come up or do whatever to get where you need or get what you need. I feel like that's another like down like insult somehow, and I just can't figure out what it is
I
because I'm
mean,
not.
it,
I don't
it
know.
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. We understand that, capitalism, white supremacy through the instrument of capitalism has things called superstructures. And the superstructures are institutions that reinforce white supremacy through the instrument of capitalism. I'm going to use those two synonymously now, capitalism and white supremacy. So these superstructures are institutions that uphold that and reinforce and make sure that it remains entrenched. Schools, policing, and like when Son gives his debate, we'll soon find out the medical industry. So
Whoa.
the medical industry is a part of the superstructure, a part of the pillar to hold capitalism in place. And so, exactly what you're saying, though, they're telling you, and this is to scare people into enslaving themselves.
Mm,
One, because we haven't seen another system. We don't do international politics. So we
right.
don't think anything but capitalism, big corporation, big enterprise will work. By the way, shout outs to Chile, the new president, what's his name, Gabriel Boric, who's coming in there bringing some big social reforms, about to make
Well, I'm
sure
glad
that people, huh?
I'm glad you're mentioning this, because I learned that this was a very good week to learn about your people, right? I'm glad you're saying that because some of us get lost in just focusing on um my where my mate stands. Shout out to him. He's listening and getting ready to come to the house over here. He's listening to the show. He said hi. Um,
Shout out
to
to Che.
Che, you'll
What's
be
up?
on a little later.
I see him in the chat. What's good, brother
Yeah.
Nkrumah?
You get ready. I see him on the message on the backside. Um, but you know how that's Mr. I like to. I'm teasing him. That's Mr. Foundational Black America, right?
Right.
And sometimes I'm teasing him. I'm just clowning around. What I forget is that not only when other countries got issues, and they come over or whatever, we see them. But I always look at other because black is everywhere. What everybody believes it's everywhere. It's everywhere, right? Black is in every country, everywhere. And so when you see over foreign news, which I think we should pay more attention to here because you could take lessons from them. There's a lot of good lessons from that, and look at it because I'm glad that people are watching the news and being more engaged in that because it really should make us look at that. It's not just here. We shouldn't
Absolutely.
just be concerned about our things here because we're in the Americas. There's a lot of things going on, especially like with the jab or the thing. I'm an anti thing, I'm an anti-vaxxer type person. And you see what they're getting it in. They're getting it in on protests in other countries, on different things. I mean, getting it in, like going and shutting down
Yeah,
actual
yeah. But
stuff,
that's
like fighting and shit. You know, like for
right.
instance, it shit is beautiful when you think about it. They really
Well, that's
don't
that's
want
what we
shit.
were talking about. That's what I was saying, seduction,
You're
and
right.
I wanted to echo in sentiment what you were
Mm,
saying, and that was the point that I was making. Exactly what you're saying. That
yeah.
um, when we look at these, I want to understand why I shouted out Chile, why I shouted out Gabriel Boric was for a specific reason. When because a lot of times we're on YouTube, I hear a lot of us talking revolution, and we're
Mm-hmm.
talking revolution from a
March
I
standpoint.
want to say a civil rights
Yep, a March standpoint. Yeah.
type of uh yeah, a civil rights type of perspective,
Mm-hmm.
meaning from a just purely from a national
Mm-hmm.
perspective, from an American perspective. But when we talk about these and it's like I said, since we don't understand, or since we I'm not gonna say we don't understand, since we haven't allowed ourselves to study revolutionaryism as far as it being synonymous with internationalism, policies, and shit that's going on in the world that would give us an example of what it looks like when it's brought to fruition. Chile is one of them, leaving a right wing, a very pro corporation, pro big enterprise, pro deregulation, the market, just let anything goes, just allowing the people to be exploited in Chile, a puppet for the American government. That in Chile, there's a socialist democracy won through. That political power there is, I'm an Nkrumah, just
Yes.
like Che.
Yeah.
And so
Me too. On for life like dudes.
Nkrumahism, let me go into I gotta go into the brief political lesson.
Yeah.
And this is necessary.
Yeah.
These political lessons are necessary,
Very much so. Carry on. Very much.
when we begin you're welcome, Poetic. Anytime you was gonna get a wrench off the rip. When we begin to speak revolution. But let me say this a little bit about Nkrumahism and a little bit about where it came from. So Nkrumahism is a understanding of the understanding of African socialism. Mm-hmm. And we know that many people have taken from African socialists, Julius Nyerere over Tangier, Nkrumah, Sekou Toure, Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Toure. So a lot of people have taken from this African socialism being the understanding of from the cornerstone of what some would say Marxist Lenin's. Mm-hmm. Going back before then, though, even like J. Edgar Hoover said, that all of that is primitive African communalism. So in the inception of it, it is African communalism. That's all the way back to the beginning of it. Now, I said all of that to say, I forgot my main point I wanted to make, but understanding where we're coming from this, why I was saying that I was an Nkrumahist. I forgot my point, seduction.
It's good though. It's good because you keep it focused on the main thing is about socialism or like how we treat each other.
Right. So basically, that's what I want to go back to. Right. So we understand this thing from a consumer perspective, capitalism from a consumer perspective, and we've been taught to be frightened of these big words, African socialism, this and that, mm-hmm. And it just really means that our dollars that we pay into taxes from our labor ensures us and the rest of our people that it should be regulated and allocated in such a way that the state ensures the basic and in the very least, at the very beginning of any transformative government, revolutionary government, that the state ensures the basic essential needs of the people: food, clothes, shelter, and medicine.
Mhm.
Education. I throw education in there too.
Yeah, because it's part. Yeah, it's part. Serious. You need it.
You understand? Right. There is no way that black people should be working as hard as they work just to survive. There's no way they can make it. We can make it in the capitalist system if we're just surviving and we don't even make enough money, enough capital to participate in capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Like how you gonna send your child to college to get the skills to even compete in corporate America? And then if by some miracle you raise up the money, then got your child to maneuver all the snares and pitfalls of being black in America, they get out of college, the job market is dwindling, and they have to deal with racism. The job market is dwindling because of capitalism, because capitalism is outsourcing. Capitalism says, hey, why pay all these Americans for insurance and I got to pay this motherfucker's medical and dental and I can outsource to Bangladesh. Then when you call about your problem with a TV, you call and say, hey, I got a problem with my TV. Hello, this is John. I'm in Texas. Motherfuckers outsourcing to Bangladesh.
Right.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
You know how many so-called American, now you capitalists ought to love me for this. You know how many, white son, where you at? You know how many good goddamn American jobs you're giving up?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like even when you get weird ass phone calls and you tell them, you know, and they adopt you like you're a piece of shit, but you talk to them like you can't understand them.
The motherfuckers.
You can't understand them. You're like, can I get someone speak English like me? Please.
Say, what am I speaking to? This is Bob. This is Bob.
Yeah, then like the Social Security office, you know, they call you on some old fraudulent shit. You know they're out some fraudulent shit. So you don't get trusted. And I'm like, look, just patch me through, outsource me back into the Americas, and let me holler at somebody to speak like me, so I can understand what the hell you calling me for. And don't ask me for my shit because if you don't need me to verify what you stole already.
Peace. You can thank your good old you can thank your good old Clinton and boys for that one. Letting them jobs jump up out of here. That's why I say, you know, this Democrat Republican, two faces of the two sides of the same coin.
Same coin, yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is, and you got these Negroes, since they don't understand how America works, they love it.
Yeah, they fit it.
You know, they love it. Oh, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But there's no upward mobility in you for that. So, like I said, after your child, finally, you by some miracle, by some whatever, you get your child through college, they get out of college, and if they do find a job that didn't outsource, there's part two, what I spoke of a little earlier. Now you're facing racism.
Right.
And not just racism from white men. Look how they divided us against each other. Why not? We talk about this civil rights bills, affirmative action. Why that white man is crafty. I tell you what he's done. He's learned, I think you and I spoke about this one time, son. He's learned, or they have learned, and other people have learned to use the language to maneuver through it for their advancement. So if you, by some miracle, get through college and find a job that hasn't been outsourced and one that is hiring minorities, you run in there thinking, oh, they're taking affirmative action. They kill you because they hire a black woman, or even better yet, hire an Asian woman, a minority and a female.
Yep.
Kill them dead.
Yeah, talk about the equal opportunity or
equal opportunities.
Yeah,
kill them dead. Kill them dead. And this is your capitalism that you're trying to participate in. We're saying this, that even that white man understood that there was no taxation without representation. Yeah. He understood that.
Facts.
And so if I'm working this hard, if I'm committing this much sweat equity, if I'm doing all of this, why aren't my dollars representing me? Why aren't they assuring me the basic essentials in life, in the land of the rich, home of the brave, and all of that good shit?
Yeah, that extra work for the same amount of disrespect. That's how I feel. Like I feel like we're working so hard to better our situation, yet it's so disrespectful. It's
It
so
is.
disrespectful.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So it's just about an awareness to our condition. And why I said there again, let's go back to Chile because we're not in a such a unique situation. We're not in such a unique situation. What we have is desperation masquerading as revolution. So you have the most outlandish solutions to our problems being presented to us as a people out of pure frustration and desperation. And the shit sounds stupid.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's diabolical. That's what
It
I'm saying,
is.
right? Yeah, it's diabolical.
It's
They
it's
have a
it's
plan.
super diabolical.
Like it's really evil. Like white people masterminding it, like a comic book
Yeah.
situation. You know,
Listen, in a
diabolical.
lot of instances, I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're not directly behind it, they're indirectly influencing this line of thought and reasoning so that we will take this course of action. But we've seen it before, and I'm gonna call it out. One is, now this non-participation that I'm hearing being pushed and presented, which is just radical Gandhiism, radical nonviolence. And if you think that Gandhi's nonviolence ran the British out of India, you are sadly mistaken. You have bitten the hype.
I think that they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand that how we're using non-participation. I think like when in our like on my side of the world with our programs, right? With mine and Mr. Nkrumah's messaging. You know what I mean? We say, like, hey man, if the shit collapse, fuck it. Like, let's watch it and see if it's fucked up. The system is fucked up. I don't want to participate unless it got something tangible, like you could, not a symbolic, symbolic, anything. Like, let's be realistic. This time, look, black. I'm gonna put it like this in the sense of the pyramid. Black is on the bottom always since I've been alive. I don't know. And
Hmm.
I was just use this. I've been alive 41 years. I'm looking at it. There's no advancement. There's no change in the food chain. How they represent it. So right now it's supposed to be our time to rise and get what we need, right? And I think
Hmm.
like this system that we keep voting into, and that we're even talking about rights and whatnot, it's just like in my mind such a large waste of our energy because it should by now be a given. We should have these. We shouldn't even have these discussions. We should just be able to. You know what I mean? We should be able to have two. And the fact that we're still having these discussions is like a major fucking setback if you look back at it. In those aspects, and I think that when you say we don't want to participate in certain things and watching it collapse, I look at it in the positive. At the end of it is the rebuild in the correct way, how we would like to see it. That's how I'm looking at it. Although I see that the message is being misconstrued and turned around and twisted up and argued and it's disappointing. It's like there's nobody
I
sees the
guess
hope.
I guess I just don't understand it. Like I
Yeah.
don't understand non-participation. I understand non-cooperation,
Mm.
but non-participation.
Yeah.
Like how do you not live?
Ultimately, you're going to participate regardless if you don't
Right.
want to or not. Yeah. You could just say you're not going to. We could say a lot of things that sound real good, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
somehow, some way, you're participating, whether you want
You're
to or
going
not.
to participate.
Yeah, we need to get Blue on
Non-cooperation.
here because I
Say
need to
what?
understand. Yeah, we need to get Blue on here because I need to understand that too because I don't understand the. Yeah, I'm a little lost on that too. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
Yeah.
know.
confusing. It's confusing for I think too, and I learned too that you got the one uh the one population of black people that we are on the black agenda, tangibles, whatnot, which is where me and Jesse are. And then you got other hand, which is good. This is also a good learning thing. I look at it as that way. Everything's positive for me in a sense of learning. Then you got the other side that don't understand the black agenda, where they're going with it, and that will buck the system based on just not knowing, or based on not understanding, or not having an understanding of what to do when things do fall apart. What is a real plan? And it's the fear sets in, and I think that that right there is a big thing for why you don't want to participate, or why you don't want to contribute, or like to be part of something, um, because you don't understand it. When you don't understand something, you'll feel fear like, oh fuck, I can't have that. So then you want to stay comfortable. And I think that we're not, somehow we, even on my end, I want to look into it more. How we're not getting the messages across to where everybody can understand and not feel fear or defeat moving into our new future, because it is changing. It is moving
Absolutely.
differently. How do we
I,
blend? How do we adapt?
I think I think the thing with me, it seems how it's been presented to me is it seems defeatist.
Hmm.
The way non-participation was presented to me, it seems very defeatist. It just seems like, oh well, you can't win. They got everything. What the hell you trying for? And then it seems very romantic. It's fanciful. And we understand that. I love that hashtag tangibles 28. What is that?
2021. That's
2021.
Yeah. That's
Indeed.
Mr. Paris
It,
right there.
and listen, and this is why I like it. This is why I say tangibles, because that seems fanciful. Like I was talking to one person, and he said, "Well, I can't do it by myself. It's gonna take all of us." That's idealistic.
Because it's
I'm
just like
like
a question.
tangibles. I'm not a materialistic as capitalism, but I believe in material dialectics, meaning I
Right.
believe in tangibles. I believe in a
Mm.
physical. I believe that matter makes up everything. I
Yeah, what
believe
you can
in
feel, touch,
physical,
and get.
tangible change, and that will affect the intellect. I don't believe the other way around.
Hmm.
I don't believe that. Oh, if idealistically, if a million people got together, fuck that. That's
No.
idealism. What's the tangible change? How do you affect that in real life, in real time? How do you excite and ignite the people to organize and to
I,
mobilize? Not if
yeah, exactly.
God came down and split the water. Shit.
Like, what if? I think about it like this. I think too. I like to add the word realistically, like to in my, like in just on my portion of things. I speak for myself right here. I like to add for, like, realistically, in a realistic time frame. I like to throw that into, because we do understand that what we're fighting, or what we're at war with, is already taking such a long period of time already, and it's going to continue to take a long period of time, considering we're on the bottom continuously. And I feel like I like that. There was like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So we know we're gonna be in it for the long haul. We know we're playing the long game. And at the same time, I wanted to be like, look, in this new future of ours, they don't give us real tangible, realistic time frames. Like,
Right.
okay, look, I'm gonna give myself 3 years, or I'm gonna give myself this, and I started to think, well, that okay, fuck it, man, they ain't gonna do it. Maybe we should, or I should, at least for my little contribution to the people, be realistic with what I offer, as far as like the homeless situation or whatever I'm interested in. I want to speak just for me, because I'm a little radical day some days, and I'm like, I want to be realistic. What am I able to do to, or give, in a realistic time frame? Because it sounds nice when people say it, but they're never realistic about it. So then we get
There you
disappointed.
go.
Yeah, we get disappointed because, oh, they ain't doing nothing for, not doing nothing for black people. Okay, well, they started out saying that they ain't going to do it. Now look, we got 3 years, 3 more years, unless some crazy shit happen, like, oh boy, pass away, or a big change in the system. We got to ride his little term out for at least another 3 years.
You're
So
gonna
I
have
figured
to
I
ride
do
it.
it like that. Start
We
putting it
gotta
away.
ride it. we got to ride it for as long until the system is overturned.
Yeah,
That's what
That's
I
right.
mean by,
That's
like,
right.
and
absolutely.
my man Che asked a good question. He's like, why participate in a system that doesn't benefit us?
Yeah,
And I may
there's
need
no
someone
tragedy.
out there in the chat look up maybe the definition of participate. Now, I will agree about cooperate.
Yeah,
I don't believe in cooperating with the system. However, the system is designed that you don't have an option whether or not you're going to participate. It's going to continue. It has already opted in the factor that you may not be a willing participant.
That's
Those
crazy.
are called, though it has privatized, it's called the prison industrial complex.
Yep.
And
yeah, they
like the
set it up
brother
for your
said, and
success.
huh?
That's what I feel like. Their system, this the dominant society system set this up regardless for their success. In my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The ruling class, that's what the state is. The state is a mechanism of the ruling class. The state came to power when one people understood the use of violence to appropriate other people's means and to keep the other people disarmed. They began to create classes. That's what class, okay, y'all the working class. Y'all do this, y'all do that. We the ruling class, we get all the surplus. That's why we're the state, the ruling class. We create this apparatus to keep y'all in place. The state is there to keep the ruling class in place. When the police in your neighborhood, they're not there to protect you and I. They're there to protect the
Property.
property owners, so on and so forth, right?
Yep.
So we understand that. So we understand that there is no way, to me, in my opinion, and it's always open for a discussion, that you cannot participate in the system. It is designed. They never asked for your participation. Shit, we didn't volunteer for this shit at no part of the journey of our being here, from
Mm-mm.
slavery up until now, even when they so-called freed us. This is why I'm a self-determinist.
Yeah.
Because when they so-called allegedly gave us freedom, three things should have occurred. One of them, we should have been asked, do you want to return where you came from? The second
Word.
one, do you want to carve out your own? Or the third, do you want to be a part of what we have built? White America, the us being white America. And we were given none of those options, not even to be included in what we had helped them to fight for, a United States. So we've never uh until we've never, I want to be able to read Che's comment in a minute. We've never
Yes.
been given
Yes.
the
I'll read
option.
it.
Yeah, I want to be able to read this, to opt out. So what I think that we look at is at what level of non-cooperation will we go to? Dr. King, the civil rights movement went to what they called civil disobedience. That was their level of non-cooperation. The Black Power movement, the revolutionary movement took it to another level of non-cooperation. But I don't think at no time was non-participation a real I've never really seen it used. I don't understand it. It sounds like radical Gandhiism, but then if you understand the history of that, you wouldn't really be like advocating a radical Gandhiism, because Gandhi didn't free India. I forget the dude's name, Nartelli or something like that, of the Indian National Council. You got to know his story and know why India why the British got the hell up out of India. It wasn't because they all of a sudden their feet got tired of kicking Indian ass. You,
Nobody get
you know
tired of
what?
that.
Well, you just thought they grew up conscious. You know what? We're tired of beating your ass,
Yeah,
Gandhi.
right. Nobody
We're
get
tired of
tired of
seeing you
kicking
go.
ass.
Right.
And you know what I think it is? It's so simple. Like right now, as you said it, I got little light bulbs always to go off. I'm thinking maybe it's just the words, because that's just the simplest thing of using the wrong word to describe the same thing. Like
Yeah,
instead of non-participation, you just said it right there. Cooperation, non-cooperation. I maybe that's the wrong word. That we were using the wrong word when we really meant to say cooperation. We don't want to cooperate because they're not going to go along with the program. This sucks. You know what I mean? I think that's what it
yeah.
is. We're trying to just
That's it.
using the wrong motherfucking word.
They need
So
to
it's so
let my
simple.
man Che. They probably need to let my man Che explain it. They just were probably poor at explaining what it was because, like, that's what I got from it. Was like, okay, now not from what they were saying. I was like, okay, I can do non-cooperation,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't do like it. It sounded like I said, defeatism. He
Yeah.
was talking about you can't beat the white man, you can't do this, you can't. Only thing you can do if all of us just didn't pay bills, just didn't do, any of that, it would shut the system down, which quite possibly might be true. It could be. However, that is very idealistic. It is
Yeah.
very romantic. It is too dependent on such an objective force. It's like what we would call an act of God. If
Right.
all black people all of a sudden agreed on one, so an effective strategy has to be what can begin to make moves with what we're working with, what we're using with the resources at our disposal, not an act of God. I can be like, well, if one big tornado comes down and kill all white folk,
Right.
I mean, come on,
Yeah,
man.
like it just keeps that
Right,
hope alive. Like that one day that'll happen.
right. You know what I'm saying? Let's
It's
keep
so
hope
true.
alive.
Right,
No,
right. I gotta
what
keep
do we
hope
have
alive. They're
at
gonna
our
take care
disposal
of
to
me.
begin to make that change? Like Jesse said, like Chase said in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
in the
That's all
chat,
that
when
right
you
there is
talk
a
about,
learning experience.
you say
Tell
what?
I mean, you're reading it. I'm reading. I'm like, God damn, that's right. You like that's how, which is good. You think we was getting? I'm like, I just learned a whole bunch of shit from both of you. You know what I mean? Right there with
Yeah,
the chat, and then listen to what you're saying. I'm thinking, damn man, we were hoping. Well, we got the wrong terminology. We're not understanding correctly. And it does feel defeated. Like you gonna put it all like that. Well, we just need. If we all got to look here, look, check it out. We can't kumbaya on the same block. Let
you see
alone,
what I'm saying?
let
Real
alone
talk,
a
real
revolutionary
talk.
fucking change.
When it's something as simple as black nationalism,
Yeah,
accepting our black as an experience,
yeah.
not a particular ethnicity, not a particular this or that, but as an experience. And
Mhm.
that way we're saying, even whether I like you or not, whether I agree with your religion or not, your philosophy or not, I, as a black person, don't want to be maimed or killed. I don't want to work in a place where I'm paying taxes if you're bourgeoisie. If you're not worried about your rent, if you're not worried about your medicine, if you're not worried about sending your children to school so that they will at least have an education to make them give them enough to and you hate to say it, but compete in a capitalist society which is very competitive. If you're not worried about those things because you're petty bourgeoisie, and that doesn't necessarily mean bad. That's what we got to get out of. Petty bourgeoisie doesn't necessarily mean bad. It means your relation to the state. It doesn't mean bad. It means you're in a certain class. It doesn't mean you don't love black people. It doesn't mean you don't want to help black people. It means you're in a certain class. You
Mhm.
may have dental, medical, insurance, just all amenities of that come with being in a certain class. So my pushing revolution to you wouldn't be purely a capitalist revolution because it may be hard for you to relate to the class difference. I'm a lumpen. I'm
Mhm.
below or proletarian. I'm below the bourgeoisie. So you're not
Mhm.
understanding me. We're not relating on class. So what would be your attraction to the revolution? Why would you work with me? I'll tell you why. You would work with me because of black nationalism, because you are petty bourgeoisie, because you do pay into the system, because somewhere in your heart you believe that this system should work for you. And I'm showing you where it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm showing you where that, if since you're involved in politics, that's the other part of black nationalism. It lets everybody play their arena. It lets everyone play their role. And I'm showing you, since you're involved in politics, why don't you push for, why don't you be our voice politically? This is what really the civil rights movement was until they sold us out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They worked with the people. Why do you think they did all that voter registration drive? Why do you think they was sending all them people in Alabama to vote and risking their life to vote? So that they could be elected to office. So that they could be elected to office. That's why they risked moving, having political advancements. And when they realized we started making these political advancements, we had these alternative directions. We could go in self-determination because we're making political advancements. We're popping up on the arena, the world arena, as a real voice. Malcolm is saying, let's go international, like our brothers in South Africa with apartheid, like our brothers in Guyana with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana, like our, Jomo Kenyatta, everywhere. Let's go international. Let's appeal to the international world. Let's appeal to the world, to our struggle. And when Malcolm began to holler this, America got nervous.
Yeah,
and they said, we can't let them do that. Let's give them the other alternative. Let's give them citizenship. That way we can regulate and control the legislation, the direction, and the direction of the black struggle. And when they did this legally, when they signed that damn bill into effect, I believe 65 legally, that's when we declared open revolution. In 66, the Black Panther Party was formed. See, as long as there was an option, King or Malcolm. And we chose the option of civil rights for the most part.
Right. It's just like when you place it out like that, it's like, oh man, we fed into that. And then now look, like,
it's cool. It's a part of evolution. That's why we got people like Brother Che running, because we understood, like, we're in Nkrumah. That was the point I was making. Nkrumah, and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah believed that you must possess political power. That you have to possess, that the revolution, that the change will come with political power. Even so much so, over the Marxists, they was trying to push the Marxist economic philosophy. Dr. Nkrumah said, no, not until we control the country. You must possess the power of the country, political power, before you start any of that economic anything else. You're not just going to simply make us a socialist communist country underneath more European control through ideology and philosophy. No, he controlled political power. And he left us with jewels. After they gained independence, he controlled the political power, which began to change the economic structure. He realized in the future, one thing he said he left us. He said he wished the political power, he wished he would have changed the whole system. He warned us about neo-colonialism. It wasn't enough. There you go. It wasn't enough just to get political power.
It's just facts, because like you look at every system, it's all tied into one system if you really think about it. But all of it needs to be like reassessed and rebuilt and redone in a way that benefits us, and everyone benefits us, the people. I don't say us. I don't know how to say it any other way. You know what I'm going with this. It has to benefit us. And then, like every system is, as I'm noticing it as I grow in my own personal education, like that everything of these systems is all tied into their main system, the original plan of the world, I guess you're gonna say, for us to be down like this. It's all
Well,
dysfunctional.
absolutely. We're dealing with a people, but it's like you said, we look at these systems, you're dealing with a people that are on a time span. They understand this. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're dealing with a people that are on a time span that have a internal clock that is counting down for eventually their demise, they know no end to consumption,
Hmm.
to greed, and to just sucking up the resources and living to every desire and every fetish
Hmm.
that they possess. And the only way to do this, and for the world not to say, "Oh, look at this filthy beast, worse than a pig. What kind of creature is this?" The only way to get away with this type of debauchery is to create a system you can hide it in, and that's called capitalism.
Word. It is very, that's so very, yeah, like,
You know what I'm
damn,
saying? You
yeah,
can't be
scarcity.
normal, yeah. Amongst normal people, if you see somebody practicing such gluttony, you say, "Look at that fucking pig."
Hmm.
You know, you
Because they
see
don't have no
them
no
eating the
no end
last
to
of the
it.
resources, shooting them, no end to it. You see all the resources dwindling down, and you see this glutton fool just gobbling and consuming. You say, "Look at this pig."
Yeah, with no end
This
to it
is
because
what's
you're
happening in the
destroying
world.
everything. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
I used to think things were like, I was raised with privileges. Like, I would really like, but I wouldn't say privileges. I was raised where certain things are a privilege versus a necessity or luxury. Like, they would say, okay, look, that's a necessity. No, you can't have that because that's a luxury. You have to earn that. Or, like in my household, everything was on the terms of it's a privilege to have this, so you better don't take it for granted. Or luxuries, like certain things are luxuries. Like a cheeseburger is a luxury, not a
yeah,
necessity. You know what I mean? I grew up in that time, in that mind space with my father teaching me stuff like that, and I look at it like
yeah.
I live poorly. I don't care about money and things like that. I know I need it, but I don't care like everybody else may do. And I'm thinking, damn man, like $15 is a real luxury. I remember what it is. Not that. Like an hour. Like, damn, that's shit. That's a privilege, right? Not a necessity. And then they get jumped. You get jumped on it because think about it like this: those resources that they're taking up or overutilizing, destroying, taking advantage of, however you want to look at it. They're not really concerned about the next generation or generations after that of what those people will have left to work with after they try to intentionally clean up the mess that we've been living in and contributing to this whole time. They're not playing the long tenant game. They're not playing the long future game. They're like
No,
now, right now. You better get it all in because time's short. And then we're gonna just use up everything. And then, like, wow, man, like you look at it from that aspect, like you really let your entitlements just take over, and now look, you eating yourself from within, not knowing it.
yeah, they don't know. I mean, like you said, all of that too is by design.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? All of that too is by design. No, we don't know. We've been the longer we've been, integration was the beginning of it.
Yep.
Integration was the beginning of it. And it's crazy because, I don't advocate segregation.
Mm.
Separation, yes, willful, intentional separation where we control our resources, we control the destiny, the future of what we want to do, not segregation where someone else controls those things for us. So while we needed control of our own destiny, that integration was just the first step of our demise and downfall.
Yeah.
And as we as centuries have progressed and we've been submerged into it, integration has turned into a simulation, and a
Yeah.
simulation turned assimilation turned into domestication. And now, like you said, it's a matter of our inability to do for ourselves.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that would
saying?
be
Not
ideal.
just it's gone, it's even getting past our wanting to do for ourselves. It's starting to come to where we're incapable. And because we've been disconnected first internationally, then nationally, now even neighborhood wise through false realities like this social media and stuff. We don't know neighbors' names anymore. We don't know the atrocities that are happening right next door to us. We've lost the human connection. And then, like I said before, if we see an atrocity taking place, before any of us will intervene for the sacredness of human life, to preserve human life or something, we'll take out our phones and make a fucking snuff film. We'll film someone getting beat to damn death.
For real. It's
You
really,
know
it's
what I'm
really
saying?
true. Like even if you
From
think about
that,
it on the street, like we don't even act like. I say we like, I don't know. I'm an intervener. Like I don't care. I like certain
yo,
functions, and I'm like, God, man, we ain't even protected our old people on the street on the
exactly.
bus.
And we the only people that
Horrible.
we don't understand that are being exploited to that degree that the exploitation translates into dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The exploitation of us translates into dollars. I see it easing over to the Latino community more. I see more and more
Yeah,
of their films and more and more of their darker sides of their culture, more of their street element culture being exploited. But I mean, they
yeah,
always, what
they're bandwagoning right now. Yeah,
yeah,
the agenda is clear, and the
okay.
closer we get to 2023, 24. Those clarities. Now that certain parts of our family is waking up in their segments as they should be doing, waking up in segments, are starting to see the clarity is that the agendas are there. They're showing their ass right now, and we're opening our eyes to it. What was that?
Yeah, my bad. That's the
Yeah, I
my
know
bad. What we're
Ryan.
gonna jump to in a minute. I was checking something to see if our sister was on, to see if Nundy was on, and she did say she was going on at 7.
Oh
She
yeah,
has something going on with it.
thank you for turning me on to that, brother Yenga. That the other day when you mentioned a few things to add to my page or listen to. I want to say thank you for that. That was quality programming. I want to say
Hey man, I
quality well
appreciate it. She
spent
told me
quality
you got
time
on.
right there. Right there.
Yeah, man. She told me you showed up and showed out. Definitely, man. I always show love there. You guys that
Yeah,
are checking me out here, not checking out, go check out Sister Nundy, 3GP. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to her station when you go in.
yeah,
She's breaking down Christmas. You're not going to want to miss this. When you talk about getting some scholarship on some shit, that's where you want to be. That's the breakdown. So I'm going to tune off and I'm going to shoot over there and check
yes,
out my sister. I advise all of us to go over there and check out Sister Nundy, man. Until next time, peace. Dog, we'll be on next time. I'll let you know.
yeah.
Son,
I'm showing we're working tonight too.
Yeah, yeah,
Frontline
I'm
Black
here.
News is on at 10. So
at
thank you
10
very
tonight.
much.
Cool. All right.
All right. So I'm going to be
Thank you,
on,
sir.
son. I appreciate until next time, big bro.
All right.
Peace. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. So
Thank you
Peace
so
out.
much, brother.
Frontline Black News tonight at 10.
Yep.
At
Thank you.
10. Okay.
Got it. All right, man. Y'all look for us. All right. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.